Hi guys, how are you today? I was just looking at something here, making sure everything is running smoothly for us today. How are you, my lovely KingdomPreneurs? Listen, today I wanted to start a little mini series about clarity, a little clarity mindset series. And we're going to be talking about that for a couple of days here, and leading into a number of other things that we're going to be doing. But let me say who I am. I am Satella DeVoe, a KingdomPreneur and intuitive mindful mindset strategist that helps spiritual creative entrepreneurs, small business, and enterprise owners. I help them get energetically clear about aligning their soul scroll purpose and their big vision to create a personal and a business success. That's what I do. And now that we've gotten the introductions out of the way, as I said, I wanted to do this for a little while. It's been floating around, and I was trying to find the right time to get to it. A lot of things going on, but clarity, because I notice as I'm around in a number of different groups and my own group as well, I see that people are unclear. And so I thought I'd just do this little clarity mindset where we're going to talk about, laying the foundation to get clear on what it is that you want to do. And I want to start with ambivalence. And ambivalence really is just not being clear about what you want to do. You feel pulled in two different directions. And really, what is causing this ambivalence is that you have two mindsets about something that you want to do, and you can't make up your decision, or you can't make a decision, or you don't want to make a decision, or you have a choice to make and that you're refusing to make it. And really the reason that you're refusing to make that change, it's because of fear. And this is what's causing the lack of clarity. It's what's causing the ambivalence. KingdomPreneur, the word says that a double-minded person will receive nothing. And this is true. And I wanted to read a little quote here from Ivan Yelcom. And it says, "Decision is the bridge between wishing and acting." And you know what happens to a lot of creatives, a lot of spiritual people, is that we can become lost in our thought processes. We can stay internal and just continue to think and to think and to think about what it could be, what it could look like, how we want it to be set up, and we get into a bit of perfectionism as well when we begin to do that, and we just need to stop it, because if we continue to do that, that could go on for years and years. And I mean, how many people have said, I have a cousin, and her husband had an idea to create something. And when he saw that commercial of that thing that he had been envisioning, but never made that firm decision, never really got clear on moving forward with it. And here it was now, some 5-7 years later at the time, I think it was, and he's seeing a commercial about an idea and a concept that he had. And he got up and he went into his office and he came back into the room where the rest of us was, and he showed us, well, like, really, this was for real. He was not kidding. And he had this idea that he had not followed through on. And really it's because he couldn't make up his mind if he was serious about it, how much it was going to cost. All of these different ideas, all of these different things was just ambivalence. Causes us to be paralyzed. It causes us not to get clear and not to move forward. It's being double-minded. It's being indecisive. It's the realm of uncertainty and indecision and doubting oneself. Again, remember what I said, that a double-minded person receives nothing, because if you're ambivalent about what you want to do, you don't do anything. And if you don't do anything, you can't test it, you can't check for results or anything like that. Nothing is happening for you because you're not moving forward on this. And so I want us to become clear. I want you to become clear. I want you to step out of that land of ambivalence and to make some choices and make some decisions. Okay? One of the things that I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself a question. First and foremost, you have to know what you want. And then you have to know why it is that you want it. So one of the things that will help you move beyond ambivalence is to know your why, and to know why you desire something, why you want to take this change or make this change, and address all of the things that would cause you not to move ahead with that. It is very important for entrepreneurs to be clear, because you have to make a lot of decisions. And if you're not clear on what it is you want to do, everything stands still. And you could keep in a little, Ferris wheel, just going around and around, and not going anywhere, running on the treadmill, but not going anywhere, as it were. You have to know what you want, and you have to know why. And in order to know what you want and why you want it, you have to know whose energy around that question that you're carrying, okay? Because lots of times what causes us to be ambivalent is the people who are around us. We kind of think, what will people think? What will people say if I did A, if I did B? What are they going to say? What this land of what of. And it really doesn't matter what they think, because it's you who have to make that decision and make that choice. Because change is going to happen whether you make a decision or not. Change will happen because time will continue to move on, leaving you behind. So change is inevitable. And change will happen if you decide to step forward, find some courage, and step forward, make a decision, and move take an aligned action based on the decision that you've made. And so change is happening whether you do something or you don't do something. Change is going to take place, KingdomPreneur. And so the question now is, whose energetic feelings are you carrying around? Oftentimes we find that you have people in your life who don't want you to make changes. They don't want you to, rock the boat, as it were. They don't want you to shift anything, because it's going to make it uncomfortable for them too. If you're connected to someone, if you're married, if you're you have a significant other in a committed relationship, or if you have children who are of a certain age level where they're set up in school, they might have friends, that, whatever you're thinking about doing, maybe it requires you to make a move from one county or one state to another, or from one country to another. It is going to cause a shift in the normality of the way things are being done. And there are oftentimes a lot of people in your life who will be resistant to that. You yourself are going to be resistant to it on a certain level, which is why I'm asking you to check out, when I ask you that question, know what you want and why. Did you feel light when you thought about it, or did you feel heavy? Because if you felt light, it's probably your own. If you felt a little heavy, then you're carrying somebody else's energy along with your own. And what that does is it causes you to exactly be ambivalent, to be not clear, to not make the choices you know that you need to make. And this really is the truth of the matter. We know the choices that we want to make. The question then becomes, do we want to make those choices? Because they're hard and they require something from us. They require a level of commitment in order to move forward. And so when you begin to ask yourself, is this my mother speaking? Is this my father speaking? Is this a best friend who doesn't want me to move away? Or is this someone who is in a negative sense on another level who does not want me to be successful? And because they don't want me to be successful, they're telling me, if you make that decision, if you go ahead and do that thing, you're going to fail. And so again, remember I said the reason, the core issue of ambivalence, which causes a lack of clarity, is the energy of fear. And what we need to do is we need to negate that energy. We need to pull that energy and we need to transition it and transmute it into a positive energy that you can utilize. In order to do that, you have to ask yourself these couple of questions. And so I want you to get a piece of paper and I want you to write down, I want you to think about what it is that you want to do and why you want to do it. And when you've done that, I want you to, again, write down what you want. Ask yourself, what do I want and why? Secondly, I want you to ask yourself, what do I know to be true about myself and what I want? Now, when you draw this line down the center, you're going to, on one side of it, you're going to have ask, and on the other side, you're going to have answer. Okay? And you're going to do this every day that we do this clarity mindset, because at the end of it, it's going to help you to become crystallized on what it is that you want to do. Again, I want you to ask yourself, what do I know to be true about myself? What do you know to be true about you? I mean, at this stage in your life, what is it that you really would like to do? Polls barred none. If you didn't have to give an account to anybody else, and if you could just do what you want to do, forget about, the money issue, forget about any of those things, and just ask yourself, what is it? What is true about you? Let me give you an example. Using myself. I know, and I just had to make that decision. And I was ambivalent about it for quite some time as to what direction I wanted to go in. Did I really wanted to pursue what I'm doing right now, which I knew I wanted to work with entrepreneurs. I love entrepreneurship and I love business. And I love the idea of creating something from nothing, or I like the idea of taking something that already exists and transforming it and transmuting it into something completely new, always enhancing on what was there. The problem was, in the beginning of this, I really was not very good at it. I was failing at a lot of things that I was doing. I would start it, I would get excited about it, I would go whole hog ahead, and I would continue moving in that direction, but I wasn't putting all of my ducks in a row. I wasn't laying all of the foundational work that I needed to do. And so don't beat yourself up. We've all been through this process. But the great thing about entrepreneurship is that you're expected to fail before you succeed. And it's actually better, but we'll get to that a little later on. It's actually better for you to have some levels of failure along with your successes. And as I was saying, I had someone in my life who kept saying to me, you know, you have this college degree, you are a very intelligent person. Why are you choosing to live this way? Why are you choosing to make these decisions? You're not being successful, and you just got to get real. You know, that's why I ask you the question, know what you want and why. Because you could be carrying around somebody else's expectations. Some people fully believe that they have to trade hours for dollars, that they must work a 9-to-5 job in order to succeed. Some people are terrified being outside of that structure, whereas creative people find that structure so restrictive. But we may live in it for many years because we're carrying around other people's expectations of what responsibility is. Because if you wanted to be a creative artist, you know, like someone said to me, I'm not knocking what you want to do, but you got to get real. The nudge there is that you're not being real if you think you could make money doing whatever it is that you want to do. If you think that you could make money online talking to people via the computer, then you're living in a Lulu land. And it really puts you in a state where you cannot make a decision because you're fighting not only your own internal affairs that are justified, but also you're carrying around other people's criticisms. And so one of the other questions that you need to ask yourself is, whose point of view is this I'm expressing that is causing me not to move forward on what it is that I want to do? What is in your scroll soul purpose? What is that big vision that you have inside of you that you want to live? What is it that lights you up? I mean, when I said that just now, I felt my heart just shuddered with excitement, because I made a determination that, you know what? I don't care what they say. I have one life to live, and I must live the life that is my truth. And I know when I feel it, because I was in a place and I was going to work every day and I was not making any money. I mean, no money. And it was a business that I'd been in before. I was in the financial services arena, and it's how I paid my way through college in the 90s, making $4,000 or $5,000 a month. And now, come forward 10, 15 years, I'm back in that arena, and I hated going to work. Every day I went to work, I disliked it because it really wasn't what I wanted to do. But I felt that I had a responsibility to other people, and so that's what I had to do. I had to carry my load. I had to carry my share. And when people are putting that on you, it makes it very difficult for you to step out. You almost have to take on what I call a level of survival selfishness. And the reason I say that is because if you don't step into that very narrow arena where you recognize I have to follow my truth. And I have to be true to myself. Because if I can be true to myself, then I can be true to everybody else that's around me or in my life or that I am to connect with. How are you going to connect with your clients if you're trying to step out, but you don't really feel legitimate? You really don't feel authentic in what you're endeavoring to do because you're carrying around somebody else's point of view. And this is why you have to know why you want to pursue what you pursue. You know, I was once told a story of a surgeon. I believe he was a neurosurgeon, no, heart surgeon. And he came from a family of doctors. His mother, his father, his sister, and his two brothers, all surgeons, very well respected. He was married to a doctor. And, you know, he said when he first pursued his career in medicine, he absolutely thought that was the right choice for him. It was an arena that he was comfortable around, and he pursued it and he excelled. And that's another thing. You can excel at what is not your sole purpose, what is not written on your scroll, what is not written of you to be worked out. And you could start to tell somebody else's story, even though it's not your own, but it's something that you're very good at. You're able to do it. And this was the case here. He was successful. He and his wife and another doctor couple were beginning to look at starting their own clinic and perhaps making a network of these across a number of states. But he found that thought so unappealing, to be now entrenched further into this medium. And I don't get that brilliance. I don't get that lightness. I don't get that excitement that lights me up. Now, he was a surgeon. What lit him up was being a gardener. And it was just not being a gardener, but he wanted to own a nursery, and he wanted to design beautiful lawns using, I believe it's called xeriscape and permaculture type design architecture. And he started doing this stuff, and one of his friends says, you got to be crazy. You can't do that. You know, you're a surgeon, you're successful, you're about to open up your own series of clinics. Are you crazy? And he says, no, you know, I'm so excited about that. I could see that. I don't see these clinics. His friend says, I could see it. And he said, well, maybe you ought to do it. And he said, I know what you need. I work with Doctors Without Borders. You need to take a trip with me, and, you know, you got a bug in your system. You need to get it out. And some of this is what helps cause your ambivalence, because people are trying to talk you out of what you know to be true about yourself. So he says, okay, maybe this is, why not? He goes to Africa. They go to a village. In this village, he sees how he can set up for these people to be able to feed themselves through aquaponics. And aquaponically, he sees how he can help them set up and design the using permaculture. I mean, it was like his friend says, wait a minute, what did I do? I was supposed to help you get out of this. I think I just helped you step into it. What happened on that trip is he began to gain another level of clarity. And so that when he came back, he knew that he had to have a discussion with his wife. And this is why if you're married or you have a significant other, and this is where you got to put on your big boy pants or your big girl pants and stand up for what you believe and take responsibility, because if you have commitments with other people based on what you're doing now and the income that supplies, then you have to take a level of responsibility to transition. Yes? So when he came back, he was able to sit down with his wife and have a discussion. You know, obviously this was not what she wanted to hear. And then he proceeded to have a discussion with his family. Of course, everybody tried to talk him out of this, prevented him for over a year of stepping into his truth. And finally, after losing a patient, and he said, you know something? I lost this patient. There was nothing I could do, but his life is over. I'm still here, and I'm living a life that's not my own. And I'm going to live my life. And the people who are supposed to live it with me will remain. The people who are not supposed to live it with me will move on. And there's no hard feelings. That is what is creating the fear around the ambivalence, was making that decision for you to step into. Remember, I asked you to ask yourself another question. Ask yourself, what would it look like if I were Claire? He had that moment when he was Claire. He had that moment when he recognized, I could do several things here. I don't want to negate the money that my family spent to pay for me to go to college. Okay. But I can still work with Doctors Without Borders. I can do some surgeries there. But I can also bring what lights my heart up for real and teach these people how to create a system. And so, you know, that was a journey for him. And it happened, it worked out well for he and his family. And that's not always going to be the case, but if you're going to live your truth, you're going to have to live your truth. And the people who are going to be in your life and who are supposed to be in your life, because you're walking your scroll soul purpose. When you're walking your scroll soul purpose, you're being authentically you. When I started to be authentically me, I heard the words, you don't care, you're selfish, you don't love us anymore. You know, why are you pursuing this? You could be making A, B, or C. You could step into any arena and kind of rule it. Well, I didn't want to be in any arena. I wanted to be in this arena where I'm doing what I'm doing right now, and I feel so alive. I feel vibrated. I feel that brilliance that you're supposed to feel when you're doing what you're doing and you're loving what you're doing. And that's what I want you to feel. And so I want you to take that piece of paper, write down on it, you know, what is it that you really want to do? I know for me, I not only want to do this online, I love the idea of physical brick and mortar businesses as well. And I absolutely love real estate. You know, Oprah once said that, you know, she loved real estate like most women like shoes. Well, I'm with Oprah, you know. You put me in a pair of high heels, I'll probably break my ankle. But you show me a piece of property and I can envision. You show me a blank canvas and I can think of a trillion things that could be sitting on that piece of property and how it could be transformed into something beautiful. You know, ideas and thoughts, I love it. And so I want you to take that piece of paper and I want you to write these questions down. I want you to ask yourself, what do I fear and why? Who do I fear? And how am I letting that stop me from being clear on what it is I want to do? I want you to ask yourself, what do I really desire to do with my life? What do I really desire to do with my life? And why? I want you to ask yourself, what do I know to be true about myself as pertaining to what you want to do? What do I know to be true about myself? Ask yourself, what would it look like if I were clear? What would it look like if I were clear? And I want you to get very specific about this, because when you write these things down, think about your money. Get very clear about your money. Get very clear about your business reality, your family reality, your relationships reality, your body. Because a lot of this indecision and ambivalence causes you to gain weight and affects your energy level. What is your home reality? Do you want to travel? I love to travel. What does it look like? Where would you like, if you were doing what you wanted to do, how would you live your life? Does it include travel? What do you want your health to look like? I want you to ask yourself those questions, okay? I also want you to ask yourself, whose beliefs are these? Are they yours or are they someone else's? Ask, what does the energy of this feel like for you? When you think about it, is this my idea of my life or is this somebody else's life that I'm living? And what do you feel? Do you feel light or do you feel heavy? Do you feel some kind of level of stress and anxiety that's coming to you? Let me know. And then what I want you to do right now, this is what we're going to do. We're going to create what is called an energy ball around these. And we're going to pull the energy from the cosmos intentionally. We're going to step into what I call Kanava. And Kanava literally means in the Hebrew, intentional. Because you're going to become very intentional over the next few days as we do this clarity mindset and get clear. I want you to put your hands together like this. Just move it closer and closer. Wow, I feel that already. And you should feel that. And as you get closer and closer and closer, and you bring them together, okay? I just want you to feel all of that energy and just let all of that energy come in. Just pull it all in from as far as you can pull it. You're going to feel that, right, coming through your back. And as you pull that energy right through, and then bring it out. Just bring it out through the heart center. Bring it out. Just take all of that energy, pull it together, and then release it. Wow, that felt great. I just want you to do that. Hold the energy. Ask yourself the questions. Take an hour or so. Find yourself a little quiet space. Consider the questions again. And write down your answers. And then I'll talk to you again tomorrow. We'll continue this process. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you soon. And by the way, I'm going to be posting this to my YouTube channel and to my Facebook. And so, hit like and subscribe, comment, like on Facebook. If it did anything for you, you can help me out that way. So I'll talk to you guys soon, okay? Bye-bye.